We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, everybody. It is Saturday night. It is less than 24 hours away from quite possibly the biggest game, not only in Vikings Lions history, but in NFL history. Never before have two 14-2 teams played the final game of the regular season to determine not only the NFC North, but the number one seed for the NFL, NFC playoffs, and a first round bye. The stakes are not any higher, could not be any higher, and I'm here for it, and I'm ready to go. Got a big crowd already tonight in the chat. Look at that. Good evening, Bob, Drew, Ant, Reggie, Disgusting Act, George, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the show. Got quite a bit of news stuff we're going to talk about. And then, of course, we'll get just a quick recap, Brunswick's last word on the Green Bay game from last week. And then we'll dive deep into the preview of the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings matchup tomorrow night, Sunday Night Football. And throw our predictions in at the end of the show as well. So with that, let's get started, shall we? One non-Vikings related. Toon says, I don't have the super chat option figured or set up yet. YouTube is not monetizing us because they suck, but we won't get into that right now. But anyway, one NFL or non-Vikings related thing I'm just going to bring in here. The shit show that is the New York Jets are doing more Jets things this week, announcing that they've interviewed Ron Rivera, and now they're bringing in Rex Ryan to interview for their head coaching jobs.
Wow. Rex going back to New York, that'd be a headline.
I mean, he was the last coach that got him into the playoffs, but that was what? 12,
that was
15
a long time
years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
I think the game has kind of passed Rex Ryan by, but it just shows how dysfunctional that New York Jets organization is. And it's quite hilarious, really. But that's not even a retread, George. It's just robbed them of several thousand subs and thousands of thousands. That sucks. After Rex Ryan interviewing Marv Levy, yeah. Then Don Shula, yeah. Gary, good evening. Detroit fans are, but yeah, we'll get into the Detroit fans here in a little bit. But I got to do a little bit of a special Rhinos rants here real quick, as requested by our buddy Drew Bunting the other day here, having to do with the stupidity rolling around social media right now about the Vikings quarterback situation for 2025. First off, let's worry about 2024 and finishing off this season before we even think about what's going on for the 2025. But we're seeing all this crap come out this week about, teams are going to be calling about the to the Vikings for trading for JJ McCarthy and all this and that. Wasn't it like 9 months ago or so where there was a lot of people that were laughing at the Vikings for taking JJ McCarthy 10th overall and the stuff? Now they're talking about giving up a first round pick for him and this and everything else. If JJ McCarthy came out in this 2025 draft class, he would not only be the first quarterback taken, he would probably be the number 1 overall pick.
I agree. And not only were they laughing at us about JJ McCarthy, but as a team in general, there was a lot of people laughing at us.
Yeah.
For what we did in the offseason.
I mean, for decades, this fan base has sat there screaming on the rooftops that the Vikings need to draft their own franchise quarterback and develop him and stop relying on retread free agent quarterbacks that are at the end of their career and all this other stuff. And now, after one good year from Darnold, it's the Vikings need to trade away that franchise quarterback they just drafted and roll the veteran retread. I mean, and that is no knock on Sam Darnold at all. I love Sam. I mean, the stuff he's done this year has just been off the charts, amazing. I'm rolling with Sam for the rest of the year at the very least. And, but I'm going to put my faith in whatever the Vikings decide to do. If they decide they want to bring Sam Darnold back for next year, that's fine. Kevin O'Connell has earned the right to choose how he wants to run this quarterback situation next year. But even if Sam comes back, they are not trading JJ McCarthy. Because
I agree. They're not trading McCarthy.
How many times have we seen that movie before where the Vikings bring in a veteran free agent? He comes in, lights the world on fire for the first season. The Vikings, we got our guy. We're going to roll with this guy. And then we trade away JJ McCarthy. And then next year, Darnold falls back off and becomes old Sam Darnold. Then we're sitting there searching for our franchise quarterback again.
You know what? I think the Vikings organization is going to do the right thing.
It absolutely is. And they're not, and the right thing is not trading JJ McCarthy.
I agree.
Floating these rumors, Packers. No, there's a lot of idiot Vikings fans that are doing that too. Yeah, and that's the thing. There's nothing that says you can't have 2 good quarterbacks on the roster. Even if Darnold came back next year and was playing at the same level he is this year, he's 1 injury away from Brett Rippon being the starting fucking quarterback for this team.
What they're going to do, if they don't decide to just roll with JJ next year, is they are going to franchise Sam Darnold for a year. That is what is going to happen. I don't envision us signing Sam to a long-term deal. The faith is in JJ to him eventually be the future of this organization.
Yeah.
They are probably going to just franchise tag Darnold.
Well, like I said, I don't want to turn this into the whole 2025 quarterback argument. I just had to get this off here because there was so much of this stuff this week that I just wanted to reach through my computer screen and slap somebody. Sad Minnesota Phoenix sports fan here. Good evening. Jumping right into it. He's worried about Reichert, sorry. Not just missing field goals, but kickoff box let line start to 40. I am not worried about Reichert yet. He's had a couple of, the ones that he's missing he's doinking off the crossbar. So he's only off by a matter of a couple inches. That's just a little tweak. Now, if he starts Blair Walshing them and kicking them, 10 yards off to the side, I think then we start worrying about it. But
Kirsten has a good comment there too.
Where's that at?
Right in between a disgusting act and GMAC.
Okay, I'm still stuck up here a little ways yet, but George, did the Vikings buy up a bunch of tickets behind the kiddies bench? Yes, they did.
They did.
I saw this today, and this is fabulous work by the Wilfs. The Vikings organization themselves went out on the third-party ticket sites, bought up 1,200 or 1,900, somewhere between, let's say around $1,500
$2 million worth of tickets. They did.
Yeah, $2 million worth of tickets. at, they were like $1,200 a pop or whatever. And they turned around, they're selling them to Vikings season ticket holders for like $200.
And Detroit then went to the league to bitch about it, and they got turned around.
Yeah. And the league just told them to sit down and shut up and just.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely, Drew. That was the whole thing where I was at. Trade McCarthy for Ant. Wolves are buying up tickets. Hey, if we get more Minnesota people in there, that's all we got to worry about. Brian, good evening. Yeah, it's just business. It's good business. Disgusting act. Want Darnold back in purple for at least one more year. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about it until after this season is over, however far it goes. Hopefully it's in February.
George Blum with a great comment right on the bottom there. There you go. We might as well. Yep. Great.
Yep. I agree, Kirsten, sorry. Bring back Sam for next year. Yep. Good luck sending the game. Keep McCarthy. Yeah. Ricky, of course. Yep. And that's what I want. Regardless, JJ McCarthy's on this team. It doesn't matter what they do with Sam Darnold. He's going to be on this team next year.
Yes. Yep. Period.
Let you know ownership wants a championship big time. Yeah, that's it. Discussing act. They're all in to try to get this, figured out.
The Wilfs are the best thing that could have happened to this organization. I mean, when they took over ownership.
Oh, absolutely. Detroit, their own fans are selling them too. Yeah, and that's the thing. There are Vikings fans out there that are willing to be paying that $1,200 and whatever they were that were going on the third party market. I hate that third party BS anyway, because all people are doing is turning around, and I'm all for people making a buck. Don't get me wrong, but it's absolute BS as far as tickets go, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, let's keep rolling on here. I wanted to talk about the quarterback thing really quick, and then we'll move on. Looking on some current stuff, Kevin O'Connell, now the overwhelming favorite for Coach of the Year. The odds are at minus 1,000 for him right now, so 10-1 odds. Dan Campbell is next at plus 550. So,
man, everything's just lining up.
Hey, Jared, good evening. Yeah, and that's the thing, and I've never gotten why Dan Campbell is been considered a favorite for Coach of the Year. He's taking a team that was widely expected to be exactly where they are this year, and the only thing he's done is not fucked it up. Kevin O'Connell has taken a team that all the experts had said, starting off back in March through training camp, everything, this is a 5 or 6 win team. They're going to get the number 1 overall pick and blah, 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 fucking blah. It just,
man, you're just on fire tonight, aren't you?
I want to roll tonight. I'm pumped up and I'm ready for this game tomorrow. And I'm
just riled up tonight. Coming in hot.
That's what happens late night on a Saturday. I'm coming in hot here with both guns ablazing. So
right.
Lion, yeah. Lions fans are and that's the thing. I'm seeing so much of this. Lions. I'm going to tell you guys something. Lions fans are scared shitless right now. I've been poking them with a stick on Twitter X for the last day or so here, and the Lions fans' problem is they don't know how to act when they get in these situations. Because the Lions basically had their whole coronation that, after they beat us back in week 7, they had already won the NFC North and they had already gotten the number 1 seed back then. And they've been acting like it ever since. And now all of a sudden, the stark reality is slapping them in the face that, holy shit, we might not actually win this and we might end up in the wild card round.
Well, It's like I said after that game. It's going to come down to who wins the game when it matters the most.
Yep.
And this game right here is setting up for a great rubber match in the playoffs. So
I saw an interesting one here today, and I forget it was one of the national TV people. I forget who it was, but they said straight out, in their opinion, if Minnesota beats Detroit tomorrow, Detroit will lose in the wild card round.
that's possible. That's possible. I mean,
They'd have to go
for a wild playoffs.
Yeah. Seat buy up in Detroit, salty response. Yeah, I love that. It was hilarious. GMAC, absolutely. Dan Campbell is going to, he's known for that kind of stuff. It cost him a trip to the Super Bowl last year. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him do something stupid tomorrow that costs him the game. Discussing anxiety is an all-time high. Actually, mine's not.
Quiet mind. I guarantee you KOC has that preached across the team.
No, I'm pumped for tomorrow. I'm excited, and I'm not scared about this at all. No, Tammy, I'm not cranky. I'm just fired up tonight. Campbell deserves props too. Lions are a great team. Is turning 6-5. Yeah, I mean, but like I said, Coach of the Year is supposed to be somebody who's exceeded expectations and doing all this stuff. Dan Campbell is just drove the bus. Yeah. KOC uses the 6.5 wins by expert here at 14s. Watch and learn. Yeah, and that's just thing. Cocaine Campbell. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't get what he's doing sometimes, but Lions are and the Lions are a good team, GMAC, but that's absolutely the thing. It's Aaron Glenn and it's Ben Johnson. I don't know how much of that is Dan Campbell, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see next year when neither one of those coordinators are there, because I saw today that Aaron Glenn is the odds-on favorite to get the head coaching job down in New Orleans, and of course Ben Johnson pretty go wherever. So we'll get an extension for head coach during the bye week. They talked.
He's getting one.
He's getting one. They talked. I forget who it was. It was Ben Gessling or somebody had talked to the Wilfs about that, and they said that way they made it sound as it's going to get done in the off season. They're not going to do any kind of distraction with that, during the playoffs. But Ben Johnson's the reason they're 14-2. I agree with that 100%, Drew. Dan Campbell doesn't do anything out there except piss poor clock management and walk around like a big lumbering oaf. Never seen this team so focused. Yeah, I haven't either. And that's the thing. You saw that deal in the locker room after the game last week, and people are making fun of the Vikings because they were shooting water bottles and stuff all over Sam and stuff. But I mean, why not? I mean, they're showing that they're behind this guy 100% and that they're, that was a big game last week because it's set up this week.
Yeah.
This week is much bigger, but that was a big game last week. And that game was well in hand up until the Vikings took their foot off the gas and get Ben Johnson out of the NFC after this year, at least out of the NFC North. I'd be happy with that. But the smart money would be him going, or that would be Chicago trying to hire him. But I heard some stuff today that Ryan Poles doesn't want to hire him because he's afraid that he'll get him. Johnson will eventually push him out. So,
great way to run an organization over there then, if that's the case.
Yeah, let the dysfunction continue over there. But Detroit loses tomorrow and next Sunday. Next year, Detroit loses Ben, and 9 wins at best. Where are we meeting tomorrow to watch the game? I'm watching it on my couch because I have to work Monday morning, but Tammy's going to Ford Field.
Lucky.
Kirsten, every time I see Dan Campbell where he's going to collapse, dude's veins are popping out of his neck like he's stroking out. Yeah. Nympha, good morning. The Filipino fan club is in the house. He's on the Whiffy Piffy. I think it's a little bit more than Whiffy Piffy, Drew, but Two-Tone, good evening. It's going to be a great game, especially for the Vikings. Yeah, I hope so. I'm excited and I'm fired up for this. Ben Johnson for the Jets. He's not going to go into that shit show, I don't think. He's a hairless ape. Anyway, we got one more thing I want to hit in news-wise. We kind of got off track here, but and that's what this is for. This is the most interactive pregame show on Viking social media. So this is your show. Keep the comments coming. Pro Bowlers were announced this week. So in February, the NFL is going to have to find 6 replacements as 6 Minnesota Vikings were named to the Pro Bowl. Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Gennard, Justin Jefferson, Byron Murphy Jr., and Andrew DePaulo all named as starters, and Sam Darnold as a backup. So 6 guys in there. That's the most the Vikings have had
in quite some time.
Yeah, I think since 2017, I believe. Yeah, it's basically it's flag football. They don't even play the games now. So, but there's a lot of guys that have incentives built in their contracts for getting named to the Pro Bowl and that kind of stuff. So good
it's
for all of them.
It used to be.
Yep.
Prior to 2000, it was an actual good watch.
Yeah, and it hasn't been for a long time, like you said. Yeah. Then one other thing they were talking about that there was the rumor was that they were going to activate Daniel Jones to the active roster this week, just for the simple fact that if he happens to leave, that they would figure into a 3rd round compensatory pick type thing. Now they did not end up elevating him, but I did see Kevin Seifert brought this up earlier today that they can still do it during the playoffs and it would still count. So,
well, I would hope so. What? Yeah, it would not make sense to not elevate him. So,
yeah, the only way it wouldn't really matter is if they already have a wink nod contract in place for next year and where he's coming back anyway. So,
I want it all, but yes.
Yeah.
About being happy with for this season, no matter what happens.
Right. But that's the thing, and it's great. This has been an awesome year, but we aren't done yet.
I think our window is wide open. for the next 5 years.
Yeah. Wasn't it beautiful seeing a Vikings cornerback selected to the Pro Bowl? Yeah, I think who was
very deservedly so too with Murph.
Yeah.
But he's beat. The thing is Quessie's brought in the right guys to be able to put Murphy in the best situation to earn those Pro Bowl type of nods.
Mm-hmm.
He's being utilized the way he should have been utilized the last 2 years.
Right. They're scared. Yeah, absolutely. Detroit is scared. But
I can't wait to get to my keys for that game. I'm ready, but yeah.
All right. So before we get into wall-to-wall Lions coverage, let's give Brunswick his last word on the Packers game from last week. You guys watched the show on Monday. I always give mine then, but since this is Lance's first on air since then, we give him a time to put a nice little bow on it, and then we'll go hard and heavy with the Lions for the rest of the show here. So
I'm gonna make this quick and simple and short. 3.5 quarters, we played great, outstanding football. Never at any point in the game up until that point did I question us having that game or letting it get out of control. With that being said, it was like the first game, came down to the final parts of the game, but we pulled it out. We came away with a win. I like the way that we ended the game with the series that we did have. But up until about halfway through the 4th quarter, we were playing an outstanding game. And I can't bitch too much. We walked out of there with the win. So, yeah, I was happy.
Yeah, we can't do that with Detroit this week because if we do that, they're going to come back and beat us.
No, we can't do that moving forward.
From here on out, you can't do it in the playoffs either. Which realistically, the Vikings have been in playoff mode for about the last 3 weeks or whatever. But
it is quite frightening that we are, to me, in my opinion. I mean, I love winning, but we're on a night. We got to keep grinding, every week. Winning this many games in a row is not easy for any NFL team to do.
No, it's not.
So, I mean, now the targets are on our back, especially going into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So let's keep it rolling.
Yeah. So with that, let's roll into all Lions all the time here. Kirsten coming with one in here to get us started because it actually was point number one on the part of my preview. What do you think about Lions activating Anzalone? Will this affect the outcome much?
No.
I mean, Anzalone is their best linebacker.
I don't think he's going to play much of a factor, in my opinion, tomorrow.
I mean, he's
he's a great linebacker, but coming off that injury, I think they might be pushing it, in my opinion.
And he said today, I think it was yesterday when they talked to him or whatever, that his arm's still not 100%. He's going to be wearing a club.
That's exactly it.
Which, I mean, as linebacker, trying to wrap up and stuff like that. A lot of times you see that when those guys come back, it's hard to make a tackle because you can't grab with that arm. It's still not guaranteed that he plays. They activate him. I think he's going to be a game time decision because the way it kind of sounded, like I said, that he's not 100%. He said he's not 100%, but it makes a difference, but I don't think it's going to be the deciding factor. I think a bigger factor is when we played Detroit last time back in week 7, we did not have Blake Cashman. This time we do. And Cashman's back and Cashman's healthy.
And who's the other guy in the offense that we didn't have? Who was that? TJ Hawkinson?
Hawkinson was not here as well, yes. So, and this is TJ Hawkinson's first game back against Detroit since Dirty Kirby took out his knees about this time last year. So they're going to have a club.
What we need to do to Jahmyr Gibbs is exactly what we did to Josh Jacobs last week.
Yep. Do you think the deep line for Detroit will get any pressure on Darnold? For me, Za'Darius is washed. Yeah, Za'Darius Smith's out there flapping his yap the last couple of you're gonna see some fire coming out of me and stuff. Dude, you haven't shown fire after week 6 in the last 3 years.
No, I don't. The Detroit's defensive line does not send chills down my spine at all.
Especially not without Hutchinson, but
especially if they're forced to blitz Darnold, that's not going to end good for Detroit. I'll tell you that right now.
No,
I will tell you that right now. Darnold is the best quarterback against the blitz this year in the entire league.
Yeah. Well, the Vikings have an answer for Jahmyr Gibbs. That dude kills everybody. Their offense seems to go through that. That's the key right there. And we'll talk about him when we get into the keys to the game. But
not having Montgomery is going to be huge for Detroit. Game.
And what's her name? Craig Reynolds, their guy that came in for Montgomery. He's questionable this week too, so he might not play either. So it just may be the Jahmyr Gibbs show, and then whoever their third string running back is. But they did, like I said, they besides Anzalone, they also activated Khalif Raymond. So
and Raymond has had some pretty good days against us and had some pretty good catches in some opportune times.
Yeah. Looks like we've got a Lions troll in here asking about Hawkinson and his touchdown drought, but hey, look for that to end tomorrow.
Little tidbit here. Vikings have lost 5 straight road primetime games. The Lions are 5-0 this year alone in primetime games. It's got to change starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow night's a good. We won no, that's wrong. We beat the Bears on Monday night.
Were we at home?
Yep. Are you?
Yeah, on the road.
You said road ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Dave, good evening. Hawkinson have a huge game, yeah. So apparently he's just trolling through the the Vikings podcasts and making stupid comments. So, hey, Good evening, Doughboy Steve. I hope you have a great evening, and I hope you have a terrible day tomorrow. So, we're going to unleash the cat. Toonces is pissed. Last game in Detroit was Nick Mullins. Yeah, Gary. Nick Mullins lit up Detroit in both games last year. He threw for 800 yards. That's not an exaggeration. He threw for 800 yards against the Detroit Lions last year.
Yeah. You know, and you know who lights up the Lions every time he plays them? Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson in 4 career games at Ford Field averages 182 yards a game in that building. So, and look at San Francisco last week. They were throwing the ball up and down the field on these guys. The only thing that
with nothing to play for.
No, the only thing that cost him was the couple of interceptions that Purdy threw. Now, Kirby Joseph, for the dirty son of a bitch that he is very good at getting interceptions, so we got to be careful about that. But
I truly think that the lights are going to be too bright for this Lions team tomorrow night.
I think they're going to come in. They're going to be playing tight because, like I talked about earlier, this has been a foregone conclusion that we're going to have all this wrapped up.
I feel really good being the road team coming in here. I feel really good being the road team going into Detroit tomorrow night.
Yep. Brian thinks we're going to have to score 30 to eat. Yeah, you're going to have to score 30. I've seen a lot of places going off, that this is going to be a 48 to 45 game or something like that. I don't think it's going to be that high a scoring game. It was 31-29 last time. I think it's probably going to be somewhere around, because
I think we're going to be able to do something that no other team has done yet this year, and that is stop that Detroit offense.
They've been held to under 21 points, I think, twice this year. I'd love to make it 3. If we can hold Detroit's offense to under 21 points, we win this game tomorrow, and it's not a problem. Darnold's throwing for at least 3 touchdowns over 30 yards. I love that hot take, George.
That's a great take.
That is a great take. I love that take. That's
fire. That's fire.
We'll write that one down.
That is fire right there. Oh,
now that we played them once, you're excited to see what Flores has up his sleeve. Gary, I agree with that. And like I said, the fact that we have Blake Cashman back can't be understated in this game. It was
having Cashman and Pace on the field at the same time is humongous.
Yep. It was Grugier Hill and Ivan Pace the last time, which, both have played well this year, but Blake Cashman on the field, he runs that defense. The guy Jonathan Grenard and Van Ginkel and even Byron Murphy get all the accolades and all the attention. But Blake Cashman is my Vikings defensive MVP for this year. Just for the stuff that he has done.
This scheme is amazing.
49ers, 3 backup. Yeah, exactly. Here, Drew, about last week. And 3 backup offensive linemen, 4-string running back, no Ayuk, and scored 34. Detroit's defense, yeah. They haven't been able to do a good job of stopping anybody.
We've been saying this for a long time, that these injuries that Detroit has had happen this season is going to eventually come back and catch up to them.
They have 18 guys from their defense currently on injured reserve. And yeah, they've been able to get by until they run into a team who's just as good as they are. Buffalo had that game well in control for most of the way, and then they kind of let off at the end and got Detroit get a little bit closer. But
Chevy has a great comment on Redmond there, and I had seen, and we all seen last week against Green Bay, the great run stop he had against Jacobs behind the line there.
Yeah,
on the critical down. He is really developing into something really special at defensive tackle.
Jalen Redmond is one of the biggest steals that this team has found.
And he's one of the higher rated defensive tackles in the league right now against the rush.
Yeah. The guy has come in, and I mean, you know, an undrafted guy went to the UFL or
Best thing that
USFL
could
or
happen
whatever the
to
hell it
him.
was, you
Best
know,
thing
and
that
then
could
came
happen
in
to him was to
here,
go there.
and he's going to be one of the starting, you know, he's right now starting right now. He'll be a starter next year, most likely.
Yes.
Cashman's a favorite signing from the offseason. Yeah, he's right there. I mean, it can't be understated the job that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah did in this offseason with the free agent signings. Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, those three guys right there. And then even Jerry Tillery, who's had two forced fumbles in the last, 2 or 3 weeks.
Gilmore.
Shaq Griffin, you know, nobody ever talks about Shaq Griffin. The only time I ever hear anybody talk about Shaq Griffin is when we bring him up. And nobody talks about Shaq Griffin because they're not throwing at him, because he's doing his job out there in coverage.
Kwesi deserves his flowers, but this is a Super Bowl worthy organization right now.
It absolutely is. Dallas Turner goes off. Turner's going to get a shot tomorrow because
Turner's going to get hot on this playoff run.
Pat Jones is out for, you know, the at least the short-term future. Detroit doesn't care about defense at this point. They're happy to win shootouts. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I don't think the Vikings defense is going to let them get to a shootout. I think the Vikings defense holds Detroit in the 20s tomorrow. There's my hot take for the night. Redmond wasn't playing this high of a level. Neither were Addison or Murphy. No, the last time we played, exactly right. Redmond wasn't even not seeing the field back then, other than maybe an occasional.
There was a quote from Kevin O'Connell this week that I heard, and he says that this is the week that he truly felt offensively everything is coming together and everything is falling into place and people are getting it. And if that's the case, the sky is the limit for this team.
Yeah. Bob with a great point down here. If you've not done so, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, all that good stuff while you're in here. Got a huge number in the chat tonight. Glad to see so many people here. Big night, big show, big game. So,
Drew.
Biggest worry is potential injuries. Hoping to get out of Detroit without any injuries. Campbell runs his players in the ground. Yeah, well, and that's why they've got 18 players on defense sitting in IR, plus David Montgomery and, you know, some of these other guys that are out. A lot of these guys got hurt playing in meaningless game time once a game was already well in hand. So it's, you know, that kind of thing. And right. What's that?
Drew's comment down. Our second one from the bottom. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I use that very same comment on somebody that said, oh, the Vikings are fucked now because they're Detroit's running their, whatever they call those black uniforms. And I said, yeah, well, they're dressed for a funeral. So Russell Wilson, 61 passing yards. Yeah.
The Bengals would be a scary team if they make the playoffs.
Yeah, their defense. I'm surprised. I was watching that game before we started here. I'm surprised that they're holding Pitt. Of course, Pittsburgh's offense is garbage, but it tunes us.
Yeah.
The season specials happening. 18-2. I'm all in. I'm all in on that, Bob. And the Viking. We're looking at it this way. We need 4 more wins this season, and that'll get it done. Cocaine's going to really pop on the black unis.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so talking injuries here, I know Kirsten brought up a couple minutes ago. Vikings are going in fairly healthy. Pat Jones, the only one that's out, you know, due to that hit to the knee he took last week. Camel Grugier-Hill was sick, so he's listed as questionable. And Fabian Moreau has been upgraded to questionable, so he could potentially be back this week as well. The Vikings did elevate Gabe Murphy up to the active roster for tomorrow, and one other player that I forgot to write down, Munson, I think it was. Baltimore and Michael Pierce says, yeah.
Geez, Michael Pierce has looked like he's gotten huge. Like,
Yeah,
he's got to be like Yokozuna.
He was big when he was here, and he's bigger now.
Well, he was fit when he was here. Now he's
Yeah.
just big.
It's the NFL selling alternate jerseys and stuff. That's what all that is. But yeah, we had Michael Pierce for a couple of years, and 3-4 years ago.
Injury ridden, a couple of years.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate the like, Drew, or the shout out as always. Look, trying to see what else. Differences from the last meeting. Ali McNeil not playing. Derek Barnes not playing. David Montgomery not playing. Carlton Davis not playing. Those are a lot of big time contributors on that Detroit defense that we don't have to deal with. But
I think it very well could be the script could get flipped on Detroit this week.
I think it very well could. I'm, for years going into games like this, as Vikings fans, we all know this. We go in there and we're sitting there, at this time of the night, chewing on your fingernails and not sleeping well the night before because, oh God, this is going to go badly tomorrow. And I said, I'm confident about tomorrow. I feel good about it. I'm pumped for it. I'm excited for it. And the worst thing that happens if we don't win tomorrow, we play the following week.
Right.
Then we have to go on the road to, on the track to the Super Bowl. We still have to have 4 wins.
Most likely LA if we lose tomorrow.
No, the way it's sitting right now, we will go to Tampa.
Okay.
Because the Rams are pretty close to locking in the 3 seed. If they lose tomorrow, then I think they can be jumped, but all they got to do is win and they lock in the 3 seed, which would send Minnesota or Detroit, whoever's the 5 seed, to Tampa Bay, provided Tampa Bay beats the Saints tomorrow. Injuries, Detroit could be upset around. Yeah, absolutely, Ant, and that would not surprise me one bit. And like I said, there's people that are making that same assertion around there right now that that Detroit could unravel if they lose tomorrow. First Detroit matchup was won by Goff. Cannot let him get into a groove, pressure him. Yeah, that's
20. I think it was 22 or 25 passing, which you cannot.
Yeah,
allow.
He had 3 incompletions, but the problem was last time he picked apart the blitz.
And Cashman wasn't playing, which
right.
Cashman's huge in those intermediate passes in the middle of the field. So,
yep. But then on our side of things, we didn't have Hawkinson to go across, do the intermediates across the field and stuff either. And the money down or catches on 3rd down that Hawkinson's had this year since he's came back. I mean, how many times has it been 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, 3rd and
3rd and long, and money catches on 3rd down.
Yeah, and where's Hawkinson? There he is. Boom, first down.
Moving the sticks. Yes.
We're gonna win plain and simple. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta say it though.
Yep.
I haven't seen any throws. I mean, I think maybe 2 or 3 throws before the sticks on 3rd downs this year. All the gotta have it throws on downs where we need the first. I have not seen maybe but a handful of throws before the line of gain. So I mean,
we did have one. We had one last week. Addison came in just short, and I don't know if he cut the route off too soon or what, but
it's nice to see.
The Vikings are doing a much better job of that. So, and
when you got Darnold throwing at 8 yards a clip, it seems like every game, then that goes a long way.
GMAC knocked the ball out, tip passes, intercept. Don't let them have the ball all get. Yeah, and that's
it's going to come down to turnovers.
Yep.
That's gonna be huge.
The Vikings have been great all year long at creating turnovers. Hopefully that, if they can get a couple of turnovers, that's going to bode very well for us.
As much as we bitched earlier in the offseason about this offense not being able to hold on to the football, they've done very well the last 6-7 weeks.
Especially when it's come down to crunch time.
Yes.
That final drive against Green Bay last week, hitting CJ Ham when nobody, everybody's expecting a run, you toss it out to CJ Ham on the first play.
That's what I said about the last
first down.
offensive series of that game to finish it off is what they need to see. I mean, what they put on tape was good stuff.
And then that, when we had to have it on that third down, you throw it over to Cam Akers, who makes a great catch, falls forward, gets the first down, and closes out the game.
Yes.
It's all that, that situational masterclass stuff that Kevin O'Connell's always talking about, and being at your best when your best is required. The last few times when, we've been down late in the game or we need to get a drive to close it out, it's weird because I have the faith that Sam Darnold is going to go out and do it because he's shown that he can.
I love the way that KOC does situational football, but he has to find the good marriage with time management in that situation as well.
Yeah.
I about screamed my fucking eyes out of my head at the end of the half last week where there should have been a timeout called. Burned 20 fucking seconds off the clock going into halftime when there could have been easily been a timeout called in that situation. And that has been an issue.
We had 3 timeouts and he wasn't
situational football is great, but the time management and marrying it with that needs to happen.
Yeah. And it seems like the time management at the end of the half is worse than at the end of the game.
Yes.
So I don't know, what the issue is there, but anyway, let's roll into our keys to the game for what we think it's going to take for the Minnesota Vikings to walk out of Ford Field with a victory tomorrow night. And as always, Brunswick, the floor is yours first.
Been chomping at the bit to get to these keys. These are just my ramblings or going-ons or what have you, but this is what I got. So we need to stay aggressive on both sides of the ball, match Detroit's intensity in their home, play this game like it's a win or go home type of atmosphere. So and this is off of one of our fans of the show, Brian Tercey's mouth. We need to be able to sustain long offensive drives to keep the Detroit offense off of the field. Do not slow down this game and play all 4 quarters. Number 2. Yes, exactly. Way to cap off my key there. So number 2, play smart, dial it in, and stay dialed in. Stay disciplined. Beware of Dan Campbell's willingness to go for it on 4th downs. We cannot afford to take gut punches on 4th down conversions. Show the world why we deserve the number 1 seed and silence the doubters. We need to go out there and win. Number 2. Number 3, keep Detroit's offensive playmakers under wraps. Goff, Amon-Ra, Williams, Gibbs, and Laporta. Make them earn every yard. Do not let this Detroit offense take control of this game. Need to play great defense like we have been, but this week especially, we need to shut things down when the Lions get in the red zone. Which we're, I think, one of the best defensive units in the league when it comes to red zone defense.
Yeah.
We need to correct whatever the issue is that is going on with Reichard. We are going to need him at his best for the playoff push. We cannot afford to be missing field goals this late into the season. We need to become that complete team. We need to fit all of our pieces together, become fluid, become who we are, the complete team that we know that we are capable of being, and take that next step. Finalize our blueprint. No one can beat us. Let's go into the playoffs as the best version of this Vikings team that we can be this year. I believe this time around we will be better prepared, and also we are coming in at damn near full strength this week. Need to contain Gibbs like we did Jacobs last week in the run game.
Yeah. Yeah. So on my side of things, first and foremost, you just talked about it. Drew talked about it earlier. Stop Jahmyr Gibbs. He absolutely killed us in the first game. He had that, what was it, a 90-yard touchdown run or whatever the hell it was.
Make him run sideways.
Yep. Keep him contained. Don't let him get free. And that offense is going to tighten up. Because the success of that offense runs through Gibbs. If he's able to run effectively, then they can run play action and they can do the stuff that they want to do. And it's going to make it a lot harder on us. Number 2, figure out how to get pressure on Goff and get home with it. You made the comment earlier that he only had 3 incompletions total last game, but 2 of those were against the blitz. If you
one
blitz,
was damn near a strip sack too.
Yep. If you blitz Goff and he doesn't, and you don't get home with it, then you're going to get burned. He's going to make you pay for it. So we got to be creative with the blitzes. We got to confuse, because Goff is, to his credit, has had good games against Brian Flores' defenses the last 2 years. We need to be able, and I have full confidence that Flores has been working on some new stuff. And they talked about this last week, even, that they're changing up some of their, the way they're disguising their stuff, that.
Look what they did to Jordan Love last week.
Yeah. 64 yards going, halfway through the fourth quarter.
I mean, even with the pressures, Jordan Love does not get sacked very often.
No, he's only been sacked, 18 times all year now. I think he was 16 before the Vikings game, and then we got him twice.
We got him 3 times.
3 times. Okay, so he's been sacked 19 times all year, but still. But yeah, you start getting in Goff's face and knocking him off his spots, he'll throw interceptions. I mean, look at that game against the Texans. He threw 5. It just the Texans Texaned and let him come back. Cashman's pissed off. He didn't. I love Blake Cashman's response to this. Somebody, one of the local beat writers, asked him about this. Cashman said, "I'm not chasing Pro Bowls. I'm chasing Super Bowls." But yeah, I think Blake Cashman is the X factor tomorrow for the Vikings defense. I think he's sitting on a big game. I would love nothing more to see, him get in and do it. Do what he's been doing. He's been getting sacks. He's been getting, he was in on that. He got that fumble recovery last week. One other guy I would really love to see close out the regular season here on a high note would be seeing Harry get an interception tomorrow.
It'd be nice to see Harry be able to play through the playoffs at his own home field.
Yes, it would. KOC and Flores need to be able to adjust as necessary. Yeah, that's big.
I think KOC especially has gotten better at adjusting on the fly throughout the season. Yeah. So
this is a very good point here. And I kind of talked about this on Monday a little bit, but the offensive line, much maligned, especially the interior all year long, they did a very good job against Green Bay for the most part. Right off the get-go, Darnold didn't have a whole lot of time, but they made some adjustments. And after that, he had a pretty clean pocket, or was able to at least step up and make throws most of the game.
Well, he only got sacked once.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, and then, so my third point is finish drives. The Lions have not been able to stop anyone lately. I said Buffalo put up 48 points on these guys and could have put up more, but they took their foot off the gas. Can't be settling for field goals tomorrow. We gotta be, when we get down in the red zone, you got to be punching it in and getting 7. And on the other side, to your point, when Detroit gets in the red zone, we got to be able to try to keep Detroit to field goals. If you can make Detroit kick field goals, you are going to win the game.
Yeah. Winning this game would be huge for us going into the playoffs because nobody is going to want to play us, especially at home.
Right.
At US Bank Stadium.
Yeah. Great thing for Drew here, not have that frustrating third quarter lull where they go 3-0. Yeah. And it seems like it's coming out of the half. Yeah. We did that against Detroit that first game.
Especially when we have a chance to take a 2-score lead too.
Yeah, or turning a 2-score lead into a 3-score lead.
Yes.
Kevin O'Connell tomorrow has to throw Mr. Nice Guy stuff out the door. And if we got a chance to beat Detroit by 40, you try to go beat them by 47.
No, this is it. This is when the blueprint all has to come together. We need to have that fluid game going into the playoffs.
Yep. And thank you, Stephen. That was my final point. Special teams, be aware. Dan Campbell is going to go for it. I'm going to say at least 4 times on 4th down.
Yeah, that's one of my keys.
Yep. Yeah. But then on top of that, they're going to try something else goofy, like a fake punt or something like that.
Fucking hook and ladder bullshit.
Yep. But they tried that fake punt against us in the first
One of
game.
these times, it's going to come back and bite them in the ass in front of everybody. And that could be tomorrow night when they go and they run one of these fluky fucking plays.
Yeah, they're going to be tossing it back and forth 37 times, and Van Ginkel's going to jump in the middle of it and take it back for 6 or some damn thing.
Exactly.
So, and that's the thing, don't let Dan Campbell you. I guess that's my final point of the game.
Great.
So with that, those are my keys. So let's roll into the final prediction segment of the regular season, where, of course, we not only look at the Minnesota Vikings game, but what the rest of our rivals in the NFC North are doing. And since this is a oh, wait a minute, Skull Valkyrie's got a thing.
Yeah,
I see a lot of fake blitzes, a lot of moving in and out. Yeah, and that's going to be the thing. You're going to see a lot of that. You're going to have 8 guys up on the line right away, and then you're going to see guys falling back, or you're going to have them falling back, and they're going to come running in late and stuff like that.
Well, Flores has had 4 chances now to figure it out. Hopefully this one is the one that gets it done.
Yep. Covered this already. How do we hold the lead tomorrow? That's been the concern. Yeah, keep Detroit's offense off the field.
Yes.
Their defense has not been able to stop anybody. They're giving up yards on the ground. Aaron Jones hopefully sitting on a pretty good game tomorrow.
And Chevy said it earlier, run the ball. Jones needs to be lit. Yeah. That goes in with the clock management. Being able to control that type of possession tomorrow is going to be huge.
Yep. Drew, have a good evening. Make sure you go join them after the show or after the game tomorrow night on Vikings Report with Drew, Ted, and Chris. They will have their live post-game wrap-up, as always. Always a great time over there, so make sure you go check them out. But let's roll into the prediction segment here, shall we? Starting off, there is a 12 o'clock noon game tomorrow. Of course, last 2 weeks of the regular season, the conference or division player or teams all play each other. So we have the Green Bay Packers hosting the Chicago Bears tomorrow.
I mean, the Packers better. The Packers better win this game. That's all I can say. Yeah, that Bears team had packed it in 4 weeks ago.
Green Bay, I think, is a 10-point favorite the last time I checked, but I'm going to
Green Bay will get another one of their vaunted shutout games against a team that's shit in the bed.
I'm going to go a little bit differently. I think Green Bay wins this game unless they sit everybody and don't care. But I think Chicago covers. I think it'll be less than 10 points. Because it's a division game, and that's always, the weather could be a little funky and all this other stuff. I mean, they're both out. Green Bay is not built like an outdoor team anymore, really. They're built more like they should be a dome team, but they're, still playing out there. Chicago is Chicago.
I'd love to see the Bears win this game. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious. And I'm not going to completely discount it. But because like I said, I think Green Bay ultimately wins the game, but I think Chicago is going to make it respectable. 7 points, maybe 6 points, somewhere in there. Bob's saying the Bears will win. Packers get a bye in preparation for the playoffs.
Yeah, they play their starters tomorrow.
Yeah, and I guess I haven't heard of As far as I know, Green Bay is going to play their starters because they're still
fighting for seeds.
Fighting for seeding, because Washington right now holds the 6th seed. Green Bay is the 7. But if Washington loses to Dallas, they got Dallas tomorrow. No, they got Giants tomorrow. I believe.
Okay, yeah.
If they lose to the Giants, then Green Bay could jump them and get the 6th seed. So they're going to be playing the guys. Yeah, Doc, you can't pass up the Cajun boils. I will give you a full pass on that one. But yeah, anyway, I think Green Bay still wins the game because they're going to be trying, but it should be. I'm not going to say a good game, but I'll say it's a close game, relatively. That leads us to the creme de la creme, the game of the year, the game of potentially the entire history of the NFL. The Minnesota Vikings going into Ford Field Sunday Night Football, 7:20 p.m. Central Time, to take on the Detroit Lions, all on the line. NFC North, number 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs, not to mention a first-round bye. So lay it on us there, Brunswick, for that one.
I think KOC has us ready for this game. I think we're built for this now. I think we're going to come in there and we're going to take it. We're going to take that number 1 seed. We're going to take the North and we're going to roll into the playoffs for the bye week. And the road to the Super Bowl will come through Minneapolis this year.
Bob, TTF.
And I don't think I'm going to go with 31-17. I don't think Detroit scores over 20.
Wow. Bob, TTFW stands for that team from Wisconsin. That's a moniker that our buddies over at Vikings Report came up with. So Doc's living the high life. Yep. With his having the seafood boil. I could use a good seafood. I haven't had a good seafood boil for a long time. I could go for one of those. Maybe I'll get one this week for a celebration after the Vikings secure the 1 seed. But
North Field special tonight. He's not even in here.
What's that?
North Field special tonight. I haven't seen him in a couple weeks.
God dang, we do a late night show just for North Field, and then the bastard doesn't show up.
You need a wellness check on North Field, please.
Yep. North Field to clean up in aisle 3, please. All right. Anyway, Vikings are winning this game tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be the shootout that that a lot of people are talking about. I think it's going to be very similar to the last game. Just flip the script a little bit. I think, Vikings be like a 31-24 Vikings win. It'll be a 1-score game because it's always a 1-score game with Kevin O'Connell, it seems like.
I think it'll be entertaining, to say the least. Yeah,
it's going to be a good game. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be that, the last game was a 12-round heavyweight bout, and this is the rematch of that same bout. But the Lions are coming in injured. They don't have the horses on defense that they did before, and that defense has had problems. So it could not. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Vikings come in here and lay a whooping on Detroit tomorrow.
That'd be amazing. That'd be fantastic.
It coming in there with that Stone Cold Steve Austin middle finger,
right,
to everybody. Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, it wouldn't completely surprise me to see that happen. But I'm gonna say 6-point win, something like that, maybe 7-point win.
I would love to go on in there into Detroit the last game of the season and just put a whooping on their ass.
Oh yeah, I would,
especially in a season like this.
Absolutely, it would be
when you got Doughboy Steve coming into our chats trying to talk smack.
Mm-hmm. So we got it, but unanimous consent here. Vikings are going to win tomorrow night, secure the 1 seed, get a week off to rest and recuperate and get healthy for the stretch run. And the road to the Super Bowl will hopefully be going through Minnesota and US Bank Stadium. Papa predicted 53-23 Vikes. I would love to see that.
50 burger would be red hot going into the postseason for this offense.
And remember, if the Vikings put 50 on somebody, Brunswick shaves his beard live on the show.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Hey, if we score 50 against Detroit, it's worth shaving your beard.
It is. It is.
Razzie thinks 34-24. I'll take that. Careful, Campbell has a magic 8-ball. Yeah.
Yeah. 8-ball.
Yeah. It's magic, all right. Yeah. Razzie says, keep the beard. There was a bet made a few weeks ago that if the Viking, it was right before the Falcons game. Our buddy Drew made the bet with Brunswick that if the Vikings put 50 on Atlanta, that he had to shave the beard, and didn't quite get there, but we made it into a parlay that if the Vikings score 50 at any point in time during the season, then Brunswick shaves it. So it is a worthwhile cause, and but anyway, been going on for a little over an hour here. Thank you guys so much for joining us on a Saturday night before the biggest game of the season, absolutely the biggest game ever between Detroit and Minnesota. And thank you guys to everybody out in the chat. We got almost 70 people still in the chat here after an hour plus. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much. You guys came with so much stuff to talk about. I got a bunch of stuff on my list we didn't even get to tonight, but
wow.
We had a lot of great comments, a lot of great, questions, things like that. We do this show for you guys. That's why we say this is the most interactive pregame show out there, because we tailor it to you guys. We have a rough schedule,
Absolutely.
but we just let the commentary take it where it goes. And, we have a great time doing this. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Shout out to the Filipino fan club. Shout out to my lovely wife upstairs if she hasn't fallen asleep yet. She was watching, I know that, but we got another hater in the group. Where's Toon says we'll sick the cat on her. Anyway, thank you again, guys, for great show, great night, and looking forward to an even greater night tomorrow night. So with that, why don't you take us out of here, Brunswick?
Yeah, let's just go and continue to go win some games and do what's in front of us, and take it one game at a time, and let's go get that number 1 seed and the North crown. We'll see y'all next week. Skol.
All right. Have a great evening, everybody.